What about this one? Determine the basic shape of the graph of y equal negative 4x cubed plus 17x squared plus x minus 12. Okay, so like we've been doing the others, first thing we check is the highest power of x. So we see the highest power of x. Look here, 3, 2, 1, and there isn't 1. Highest power of x is 3. So we put a 3 right here. Highest power of y, there is only one y. Remember, there is an exponent of 1 right here when we don't see 1, so we know the highest power of x is 1. So if you have a function, or an expression, either way, with y to the first power, and highest power of x is 3, you know this is cubic. And we know the basic shape goes like this, or like this, right? We talked about that earlier. And then we're going to have to figure out which one it is. So we look at the leading coefficient right here. So it doesn't have to be the leading coefficient if these are all mixed up, but the sign of the coefficient of x cubed in this case is negative because we have a negative 4 times x cubed, so the sign is a negative. So these were the options for the basic shape. Our basic shape looks like this. Okay. Let's do another one. Determine the basic shape of the graph of 5x plus 17 equals y. So highest power of x, we look right here, this is the only x term we have. We see the exponent there is the number 1. So exponent is 1. Highest power of y, there is one term with a y right here. No exponent is given, right? So there's an understood 1. Highest power of y is 1. If we have x to the first power, y to the first power, and no other x's or y's, then we know we have a line. We have a line. Okay, so then we check. We see y is on one side, x and other things are on the other side. So we have all of the x stuff on, actually this time on the left, and y is on the right. The form we discussed had y on the left and all of the x stuff on the right. So if you want to, you can switch these around. So y is equal to 5x plus 17. Mathematically, that's exactly the same if we switch the left and right hand sides. So definitely a line. The coefficient of x here and here, both of them, positive 5. So we have a positive. So our graph will be a line, as we said, and it's going to have a positive slope. So something like this. Okay. What about this one? Y equals 15 minus 8x. So we check our powers again. Highest power of x, there is one term with an x. There's no power given, so we know there's an understood 1 right there. The exponent is 1. Then we look for the highest power of y. Here's the y term. Again, no exponent is given, so we know the exponent is 1. So when you have x and y both to the first power with no other x's, no other y's, you know we have a line. So we have a line. And we are going to check the coefficient of x. Remember, if our form is y equals, and you have all the x stuff on the other side, then you can just look at the coefficient of x. Here, the coefficient of x is a negative because we have a negative 8. So a negative, we know we're going to have a negative slope. So something like this. If it bothers you that this is not in the mx plus b form where the x is first, the highest power of x, and then descending order, you can switch the order here. This is y equals negative 8x plus 15. And then again, you can also see the sign of the coefficient of x is still negative, so our slope is negative. Let's do this one. Determine the basic shape of the graph of 2x plus 3y equal 15. Highest power of x. Here's the x term. Again, no power is given. We know there's a 1 right there. So the exponent is 1. Highest power of y. We see there's nothing given, so we know the exponent is 1. X and y are both to the first power, so we have a line. Okay. We have to be careful here, though. Notice x and y are on the same side. So we need y equal x stuff, where the y is on one side and all of the x stuff and the constant is on the other side, if we're going to figure out if we have a positive or negative slope. So to do that, we have 2x plus 3y equal 15. We can subtract 2x from both sides. So we see 3y equals negative 2x plus 15. If we check the sign, The coefficient of x is -2, so the sign is a negative. We see this is going to be a line with a negative slope. If you want the coefficient of y to be 1, you could divide every single term by 3 to get y equals -2/3 x plus 5. So slope is still negative. And then as we start graphing lines and start practicing, you know that the rise over run is -2/3. So rise is -2, run is 3. And you could actually figure out, a little more appropriately exactly what this shape looks like. So this would be 5, and you would go down 1, 2, and right 1, 2, 3, and you could see the steepness that we have. But again, that is for another day. Basic shape, though, is this. Let's try another. Determine the basic shape of the graph of 4x squared minus 16x plus 4y squared minus 40y plus 72 equals 0. Highest power of x. Oh, look right here. We have an x squared. 2. So it's a parabola, right? Highest power of x is 2. Now wait a minute. Be very careful. Highest power of y. Look through. Oh, here's a y term. 4y squared. Oh, here's another term with y. Okay, so there's actually several terms with y. We have to be careful. The highest power of y is at 2. So it's not a parabola. Be very careful. Okay, so the only thing we talked about that had the same power, the highest power of x is 2 and the highest power of y was 2, was a circle. The other thing it told us to check was that the coefficient of x squared was the same as the coefficient of y squared. And we see that's true here. Okay, so there are a few other things you would check to verify, but we do have a circle. Okay, so we know the basic shape is something like this. Let's do this. This one's a little different. Now I've given you some matching. What is the graph of y equals absolute value of 5x plus 4? So highest power of x is 1. Highest power of y is 1. We have the absolute value bars. Okay, so we know that if we have absolute value bars, we're going to have a v like this or a v like this. If there is a positive number in front of the absolute value bars, our v opens upward. Remember, if there's no number given at all, we understand that it's positive. So we're going to have the v opening upward. So basic shape looks like this. So that looks like number 3. So y equals absolute value of 5x plus 4. Again, we're talking about basic shapes. What is the graph of 3x squared plus x minus 4? Highest power of y is 1. Then we check the right-hand side, look at the x stuff. So we have x squared, then we have an x, then we have a constant, which is really x to the 0. So the powers go 2, 1, 0 in terms of x. So the highest power of x is a 2. So this is a parabola. Notice there is a positive coefficient of x squared, positive 3. So this is a parabola opening up. Okay, so it looks like that's number 1. So this is y equals 3x squared plus x minus 4. Okay, and then this last one, what is the graph of y equals the square root of 4x plus 7? Notice y is to the first power. Underneath that root, x is also to the first power. Okay, so we know the shape looks like this, or maybe like this, but we know there's an understood plus in front if there's no number given. So we're going to use this, and that is, I guess, picture 2.